Good morning. Welcome to the Auburn Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, located on occupied ancestral land of the Muskogee Nation and housed in a building constructed by free, formerly enslaved African Americans. My name is Randy Melius, and I am pleased to be your service associate today. We are a welcoming and caring community dedicated to challenging the mind, nurturing the spirit, and transforming the world through the pursuit of truth, love, and justice. We come from different places, different religions, different beliefs, different backgrounds. We hope that you will find welcome, connection, challenge, and love here. On behalf of the members of the fellowship, I extend a special welcome to all visitors who are joining us for the first time, and to those who feel like visitors. If you do not do so when you came in, please fill out our visitor book at the front of the church near the greeters. Or you may do so digitally by visiting auuf.org/visitor. To keep up with the activities of the community, check the AUF website, sign up for our email, and watch for any announcements printed on the back of the order of service. We also allocate time for spoken announcements at the end of each service. As we step away from the world for the coming hour or so, please turn your phone and other electronic devices to silent. Let us move into the service willing to be authentic with each other, honest with ourselves, and open to connection in all its forms.
As the chalice is lit, I share these words by Unitarian Universalist peace and justice advocate Stephen Schick. The sacred place. This place has been waiting for us to gather our dreams of justice and peace. This place has been waiting for us to honor it by opening our hearts and speaking our minds. This place has been waiting for us to fill it with the urgency of new possibilities. This place has been waiting for us to make it sacred by our coming together.
It is also our custom to light a second candle in the observance of all the families abandoned at our southern border. We do this to show our solidarity with all those languishing between the opportunities of freedom, self-worth, and self-determination, and those of persecution, fear, and even death.
I invite you to rise and body your spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn. It's number 128 in the gray hymnal, Gathered Here.
One of the ways that we proclaim the warmth and caring of our community is by sharing our joys, concerns, and milestones. If you are joining us virtually, we invite you to type your joy, concern, or milestone in the YouTube chat box during the music for meditation. We begin with silent joys and concerns and invite those here to, one at a time, drop a pebble in our communal bowl during the music for meditation. Spoken joys and concerns will be invited following the music. joy, concern, or milestone that you'd like to share with the congregation, I invite you to come forward and briefly share it using the microphone.
So I was sad to hear that Conrad Ross is in the ICU. So if we could send him some cards and well wishes, that would be very nice. It's at 447 Wrightsville Road, Auburn.
I'm Jerry McCreary, and for those of you who know me, you might think I was auditioning for the next remake of The Great Gatsby, or perhaps for the role of Wolverine's father in the next X-Men movie. However, I am being treated for skin cancer. It's not life-threatening. I have a cream that I put on my affected area, which happens to be here, that kills cancer cells and leaves good cells alone. The procedure takes several weeks. It is messy, but effective. I had the same malady about 3.5 years ago, but no one knew because we were all wearing masks. And I also have a concern. Sally has a bad toothache, and the dentist is not going to be open tomorrow.
A big one for many joys and concerns, and first joy to be back here with all of you. Lord, it's been so long. And I just appreciate all that people are doing, and I'm so glad to hear you for the first time, Marty, here this time. Concerns are many. I took a big walk for a bunch of joy and concern, but lots of family health issues. We've struggled with some of the syndrome. Must be an age factor. But others are struggling, like Conrad and Laura, thank you. And what I have learned is that you can take a card and tape it on the door at 447 Wrightsville Road, and then one of them will be sure to take it to Conrad. So I have my card and tape ready to take right after the service. But gratitude for all that so many of us are doing in so many different areas. Have to speak out my particular concern as Alabamians, you all, for what our state is doing. And particularly in the area of suffocating people to death. So more about that later in announcements. Thank you.
I saw in the news this morning that 15,000 people were admitted to the hospital for COVID. Yes, folks, it's back. There is a new vaccine, should be coming out about, that's what I've been told. I work at the pharmacy, they put up a sign so it's official. Yeah, the vaccine will be here the 18th, mid-September. Please, you don't have to come and get it at my place, but please get it, protect yourselves, please. I don't want to play for any more memorial services for a while. Thank you.
Thank you to all who shared their joys, concerns, and milestones this morning. May all the joys, concerns, and milestones of this community, those shared aloud and those held in silence, be received into the care and concern of all present. The light of our chalice should soon flicker and die without the oil that nourishes its flame. Just as the flame cannot burn without oil, this religious community cannot survive or thrive without the personal and financial support of its members and its friends. The oil that keeps the flame of our religious exploration or writing a check, please make your check payable to AUF with a note on the memo line, whether it's for the offering or your pledge. and drop it in the offering bowl or mail it to P.O. Box 669, Auburn, Alabama 36831. Let us now give freely and generously to sustain and strengthen our shared religious community. And now we'd like to proceed into the program with our moment for all ages with our very own Angela Farmer.
Who would like to join me? Oh, yay! I thought it was on. Oh, so good. It's got lumbar support and everything. It's very nice. Hey, everybody. Today we're going to hear a story called Rest to Recharge. Who likes to stay up all night playing video games? Who stayed up all night last night playing video games? But I unlocked so much, y'all. This is a story by Jennifer Law. Hi, my name is Gabe. This is my cat, Holly. And this is my story about how I learned to recharge my body's batteries. Sleeping takes up a lot of time. I used to think it was a complete waste of time until I discovered all the great things it does. A few days ago, I was in school and Mrs. Spencer was teaching us something about math. But I had no idea what it was because I kept falling asleep. I felt so tired, I eventually gave up trying to stay awake. The next thing I knew, Mrs. Spencer was loudly saying my name and patting me on the arm. My nice nap was over. Are you feeling okay? Yep, just tired, I guess, I answered with a yawn and a stretch. The rest of the day, I managed to stay awake, but I was really wiped out. I couldn't even keep up with my team during recess and wrecked any chance we had to win. Later, I found out Mrs. Spencer had called my mom. After school, Mom sat down to talk with me. I'm worried about you, Gabe. You go to bed at 9 p.m. and wake up at 7 a.m. If you fall asleep right away, that's almost 10 hours of sleep. During your last checkup, Dr. Myers said you needed 9 to 11 hours of sleep every night at your age. You shouldn't be so sleepy. Is it because you're staying up later than you should be? Kind of, I mumbled. What does that mean? I play games and sometimes watch videos. After my chat with Mom, we made a plan to help me not stay up so late. The plan included a new rule. Every night at bedtime, I had to put all of my electronic devices in a basket that sat in my parents' bedroom. I couldn't use any of the devices until the next morning after breakfast. When I went to bed that night, I thought I was ready to sleep, but instead I just laid there, wide awake. That's when I remembered I still had one device I had forgotten to put in the basket. Forgotten, accidentally. I turned on my game to play and something really strange happened. My alarm clock started talking to me. It chirped, "You know what Mom said." Am I dreaming? I rubbed my eyes and looked at the clock again and saw it had a friendly face. "You need your rest," it chirped. A talking clock? Who are you? I'm Buzz. I'm here to help you learn about getting a good night's sleep. Well, right now I'm not even tired, so how am I supposed to sleep? Gabe, close your eyes and imagine you're sleeping on a soft, fluffy cloud in the warm sunshine. Or try counting your breaths. Inhale while you count to 3, then exhale as you count to 4. Keep imagining or counting until you're calm and sleepy. Anybody else have to do that? Try to fall asleep sometimes. You get the thoughts from running. What's the point, Buzz? Sleep is a waste of time. I'd rather be playing right now. You really don't know the power of sleep, do you? Sleep helps your brain work so you can think better. It helps your body and muscles grow. It helps you heal. It helps you stay healthy. It restores your energy. It helps you look and feel your best. With the right amount of sleep, you will feel happier. You won't be so grouchy. Sleep will even help your body perform better in soccer matches. Wow, I didn't know sleep helped that much, I confessed. Sleep recharges your body's batteries. Kind of like how you have to charge your electronics to keep them running, or how you have to keep me plugged in. If you unplug me, I run out of energy and lose power. You run out of power too without sleep. So you have to recharge every night. You can't just get enough sleep once or twice a week or on a weekend. You need 9 to 11 hours every night. I turned off my games and decided to get some sleep. In the morning, I was kind of tired, but I felt way more energized than the day before. At school, my attention was better. I was super speedy on the playground, and I really did feel happier. When it was time for bed, I stuck to the plan. I made sure all my devices were in the basket. I fell asleep, but I woke up during the night. I looked at my clock and saw no signs of Buzz. Without making a sound, I got up and snuck into the family room, plugged in my headphones in the computer, and started watching an episode of my favorite show. Then I watched the second episode, then the third. This is a very bad idea. After the third episode, I was so drowsy, I shuffled back to bed for some more shut-eye. It felt like the shortest sleep ever. It felt so early when Mom came to wake me up, then Buzz appeared and asked me what happened to the plan. I followed the plan, Buzz. I went to bed and I did fall asleep. The problem was I woke up before morning. I didn't have a plan for that. Buzz stared at me. His expression was a mix of surprise and disappointment. Gabe, the plan works in that situation too. You need to stay in bed and not play games or watch videos. I was really sleepy the rest of that day. I felt miserable and grouchy. Not like you. No. Now I had 2 things to work on: staying awake and trying to not yell at people. I learned what happens when I don't get enough sleep. Everyone and everything annoys me. Plus, I can't concentrate on my work. I can't run fast. I can't enjoy anything. I'm too busy feeling sleepy, sad, and grouchy. Playing games and watching video games at bedtime isn't worth it. There are better times to play. The middle of the night is for sleeping. When it was time for bed, Holly joined me. She purred and took deep breaths. I inhaled and counted to 3, and exhaled and counted to 4. I did that a few times. Then I pictured myself on a giant floaty in a huge swimming pool. The sun was warm, and I was chilling in the cool water. I fell asleep, but woke up twice during the night. Each time, I stayed in bed, device-free. When I woke up the first time, I took a few deep breaths. The second time, I rolled over, got comfy, and fell right back to sleep. I even caught a glimpse of Buzz smiling at me. Sleeping still takes a lot of time, but when I'm awake, I spend more time feeling good. And now I have energy for whatever comes next. Thanks to Buzz, I know how to rest to recharge.
And the program says we're having a benediction. Well, it's Labor Day, but we're not leaving yet, so we're going to sing the kids out.
May your hearts know love, just as you go your way, as you go your way, as you go your way.
So if you're comfortable, before I do the reading and the talk, I'd love you to turn to the person next to you and just say the name of a person that you might be honoring or remembering on Labor Day. Honoring on Labor Day. Someone. Somebody want to, a couple of you want to just shout it out? Your mother? So I think our gray hymnal, both of our hymnals, are filled with our theology. And what is theology? Filled with our religion. If religion means meaning making, which I think was what it is meaning making. If you look at the lyrics, you can learn a lot. There's a joke about Unitarian Universalists that the reason that they might not be as engaged in singing hymns is because they're always reading ahead to see if they agree with the lyrics. Do you think that's true? Anyway, what I'm going to do two readings. One is I'm going to read the lyrics from the hymn that we sang this morning, For All That Is Our Life. For all that is our life, we give thanks and praise. We sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs that others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. To be good, to build the common good, make our own days glad, to work and to rest. Theology according to one of our hymns. The second one is from Rest is Resistance, a manifesto by Tricia Hersey. Can you remember a moment in your life when you have been told that the machine pace of your days is not normal? Sit with this. Have you been told that the pace of your days, the machine-like quality of your life, is not normal? Breathe this in for a moment. There has been no space for any of us outside of what we have been born into to hear the simple and bold proclamation, you are doing too much. Yeah, right, you're doing too much. You can rest. You can just be. You can be is revolutionary. You can be is revolutionary. To believe it and continue to dream up ways to feel and find rest, care, and healing is an act of liberation. Here ends the reading for today. So I dedicate this Labor Day weekend sermon to, first, the Amazon delivery person who I startled by walking my dog before dawn as she dropped off a package in the pitch dark, a package of toothbrushes that somebody really had to have at a neighbor's house. Second, the newspaper delivery person who gets us our daily paper at 5 a.m. most mornings. And I'm so sorry for the times that I have yelled because I couldn't find this thing because it was in the bushes. But I can guarantee you that at 5 a.m., our newspaper delivery person gets our paper. Third, the school crossing guards who are out there with their stop signs and whistles before 7 o'clock every weekday morning during the school year. The UPS driver whose truck has no air conditioning. That might be one of their grounds for trying to sue and boycott and picket. The outdoor workers, the garbage collectors, the farm workers, the construction crews, the landscapers who still face another week of intense heat here this year. How weary they all must be. How they need rest, which is the opposite of labor. So I'm not talking this morning about labor. I'm talking about the opposite of labor on Labor Day, which is rest. Well, I have never been a good sleeper. How many of you are really good sleepers? Like sleeping? I sleep 2 hours and I'm like saying yes. I'm a terrible napper, like the preschoolers in the family daycare where I sent my children and worked part-time. The kid who would lie restlessly on their mat on the hard floor, eyes open for the entire hour, and then have huge late afternoon meltdowns from lack of rest. I can relate. I can relate. Sundays on the UC Berkeley campus when I was a student there, while my 30,000 fellow students napped the afternoon away after their big noon dorm dinners. Did I do that? No. I volunteered to be the Sunday editor of the campus newspaper, working all day to the accompaniment of the Sproul Plaza bongo drummers, then working all night to put the Monday paper to bed, as they say. That's what they say, you put the paper to bed. Well, I didn't go to bed, the paper went to bed. Only a very few years later, as a very young mother with 2 small children, instead of napping, when they napped, how many of you were told, don't just go nap on your kid? Using those precious couple of hours, if I was lucky, to mop floors, run loads of laundry, meet deadlines for the theater and film reviews and other articles I wrote as what they call a low-paid by the word stringer for daily and weekly newspapers, or ironically working on my contracted book on how to be a better parent, no matter how exhausted I was from the broken sleep the night before. What my husband Richard remembers from theater nights, and as I went out to see a play and then I had to write a review, is that I would come home and go straight to bed and then get up at some ungodly hour, his words, not mine, and his words again, pound out my review in some ratty sweatshirt or another, my words, not his. By the time we were married, I had taken on an additional day job, a single mother day job. No sooner had I finished my writing assignment at about 3 or 4 in the morning, I showered, I dressed, and I got in the car for what was close to a 2-hour each way commute to Planned Parenthood, where I worked for 12 years with that long distance to work. This wee hours of the morning word schedule resumed not so many years later when I became a minister, again on deadline. Richard again describes watching me research my sermons or talks or whatever we call it for days, often weeks, and then go to bed, as I did last night at 7 or 8 o'clock on Saturday nights, and got up when he went to bed and then knocked it out and then drove to whatever service I was leading. This is the inside stuff. Occasionally, when our youngest son, Ben, was staying with us, he would come home from a late night as I just got up to write, crossing in the early hours before dawn. Me in my virtual community of what we call UU sermonators. A little group of people who, during the night, Facebook each other and say, "Are you done yet?" Coming home and trying to join my thousands of clergy colleagues who collapse on Sunday afternoons and nap the afternoon away, in my case, rarely with much success, it exhausts me. Does it exhaust you? Just to recall this, the years of it, the lifetime of this. In the 1980s, when I worked for what is now one of the largest Planned Parenthood affiliates in the country, we had clinics spread all over Northern California, with abortion services in most of them, and the constant presence of aggressive anti-choice protesters. Among the senior staff, I was the only one at that time who had children, who was a single parent at that. My executive director, Heather Saunders Estes, who had to hold together this entire enterprise, not only being the executive director for a large internal organization, but dealing externally every single weekend with a constant attack. She did not have children. So on the weekend, she and I both recall, she and her husband Fred, after exercising, would stay in their PJs and nap the weekend away. Later, after she had her daughter, this was no longer a possibility. Having a respite from the pressures, resting from the threats, the actual invasions, the chipping away of access to basic rights, and never enough rest. She tells me now that following her retirement after 37 years, when she had assumed that with what we all expected would be the election of Hillary Clinton as president, remember that? At a pendulum swing finally in the right direction, she could finally really rest. She could rest. There would at least be what she calls a quietness ahead for her. In her poems, which is what she does now, she writes about the teams of invaders clutching chains and locks, the lingering smell of firebombs, about being a cultural warrior who came home alive but weary every single day and every single weekend from the years and years of work defending abortion rights. We both did. A year after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, I nearly weep, not only for this massive injustice, but because I am still so retroactively exhausted from all of those years in the trenches, and it goes on and on. As reporter Rena Raffio puts it simply, the sleep deprivation crisis is real. You know, it's real. Is it real to you? It hurts us physically, it hurts us emotionally, it even hurts us financially. As former Huffington Post executive editor Ariana Huffington tells us, there is a human need for rest, for sleep. Her wake-up call was a day in 2007 when she was on her cell phone at home checking emails when she passed out, fell, and woke up in a pool of blood with a broken cheekbone and a cut over her eye. She had been working 18 hours a day building the Huffington Post website. She had taken her daughter on college visits. After weeks of medical tests, the doctor came back with the root cause. She was exhausted. It had taken years to go from her Greek childhood in Athens, where her mother taught her that those sleeping were to be revered. Those sleeping were to be revered and their rest undisturbed, to being a college student and worker in London who, as she writes, bought into the cultural norm of sleep deprivation is essential to achievement and success. In her book, The Sleep Revolution, she talks about rekindling her romance with sleep making. Sleep something that is welcoming. Sleep something that is honorable. A sleep revolution that starts, she suggested, with nap rooms, more flexible work hours, and a work climate that wants to retain employees in a healthier environment. There are specific how-tos in her book, but the essential message is that rest, that sleep is just that, essential for all of us. It is both unique and universal, she says, intensely personal and yet common to all. It gives us strength, it gives us energy, it gives us power, it gives us creativity. Rest is resistance. Essential to all of us, but it's a matter of centered urgency for Black queer artist, poet, theologian, and community organizer Tricia Hersey, who comes, in her words, from a long legacy of Black female exhaustion. She fiercely calls for us to center rest in a capitalist, white supremacist, ableist, patriarchal world. Hersey is the founder of the NAP Ministry, which got its start in Atlanta. Her organization examines rest as a form of resistance and promotes it through what she describes as curated sacred spaces for the community to rest via collective napping experiences, immersive workshops, performance art installations, and social media. Her recently released book, Rest is Resistance, is what one reviewer has called an exquisite blueprint for rejecting the demands of modern capitalism. Centered in Black Christian liberation theology, wherein God is on the side of the oppressed, her NAP ministry disrupts and pushes back by connecting to the liberating power of rest, to daydreaming. When was the last time you daydreamed? And naps as a foundation for healing and justice. In her words, my commitment to seeing every toxic system that interferes and degrades the divinity of myself and every human on the planet dismantled is because the bamboozlement of grind culture. The bamboozlement of grind culture has been revealed by a rest and slowing down. We must rest, we must heal, we exist together. But there is no rest is resistant movement without Blackness, she writes emphatically. She observes that a legacy of exhaustion resides somewhere in all of us, but lies more specifically deep in the bodies of those with melanated skin, as she writes, in those who are descendants of plantation labor, and those who are marginalized. This exhaustion is more than exhaustion. It's deeper than any exhaustion you can imagine. I saw this exhaustion as I traveled last Christmas via MARTA to Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. I saw the Black workers on the packed early train. I saw the Black workers at the airport handling the baggage, issuing boarding passes, checking the IDs, staffing the shops, cooking the food, cleaning the restrooms, cleaning the planes. I saw the Black workers on their holidays. The Black workers who will still hold it together for the 1.6 million passengers who are expected to pass through the world's busiest airport this Labor Day weekend. 300,000 people on peak days this weekend. The Black week workers who kept things going through COVID despite their fatigue and great risk. Percy tells us she has spent the entirety of her life as what she calls a NAP bishop, answering this question: is the NAP ministry just for Black people? The answer is no. Black liberation, she says, is a balm for all humanity, and her message for all those suffering from the ways of white supremacy and capitalism. The rigid idea that justice centering Blackness, born from the lens of Black liberation, is only for Black people is limiting and false, she tells us. Our bodies, all of our bodies, are a site of liberation. All of our bodies are a site for liberation. Liberation for all of us. We, all of us, are urged to believe we are worthy of rest. It is our birthright. Do you believe that? All of us, and especially in these times, the LGBTQ and Jewish and people of color and migrant communities who are being directly targeted by what are being called persistent and lethal domestic terror threats in workplaces, in schoolrooms, in grocery stores, in a dollar store last week in Jacksonville, Florida, a short distance from the UU congregation there. Workers who were slaughtered in their workplaces. And how much more stressful and exhausting that is. Rest as a human need. Rest as a human right. Rest as the opposite of labor. In the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which the U.S. finally signed in 1992, the common standard of achievement for all people and nations, Tricia Hersey lifts up the right to rest as another basic human right. She suggests it should be an immediate addition to the existing 30 articles. The right to rest. These are the final words in Rest as Resistance. We must be more human. We want to bathe and soak in our complexities. We want to take our sweet time. We want to tap into the bottomless well of wisdom and surprise waiting for us inside the portal of rest. Our battle cry and mantra should be, we will rest. We will rest. We will rest. We will rest on this Labor Day weekend. and going forward. May it be so. I invite you to stand if you're willing and able. For the Spirit. Oh, sorry. That's right. Oh, no. First is the closing hymn, and then I'll say the closing words. Number 94 in the great hymnal. What is this like?
This is a new one for us, and so we recommend that you listen as the choir sings the first verse and join in the second verse, which you will, of course, have read ahead.
Well, that's good theology too. Look how much it picked up. Also, the word beauty is in there, and that's our theme this month, beauty. So. Two more things. One more quote from Teresa Hirsch. You can just be. When we recognize this, we can, little by little, begin to honor our bodies and trust our ability to learn new ways of being. And then from the Irish poet W.B. Yeats, there is no wisdom without leisure.
In unison, we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we're together again. The next space is reserved for any announcements that may not have been in the order of service.
Good morning. I just wanted to share with y'all about something called the Auburn Sustenance Project. Research has found that 76% of teachers noticed a decrease in academic performance when kids did not have enough to eat. During last school year, Auburn Sustenance Project was able to provide Auburn City Schools elementary schools with snacks for children who could not bring one. Often teachers provide this out of their personal stash. So again, it's called the Auburn Sustenance Project. I will send an email to the listserv if you are not on that or not on Facebook, where I posted this in our little AUF group. There is an Amazon wish list, as well as they accept Venmo if you would like to make a donation to this project.
I just wanted to read what Connor, who is part of our instructor expert drumming group, which is Amy Phillips and Connor, help me out, Rockford. So Connor says, join our exciting West African drumming class and embark on a rhythmic journey like no other. Experience the pulsating beats of the djembe, a remarkable instrument deeply rooted in the rich cultural heritage of West Africa. I think he really likes drumming. I mean, his bio is amazing, 25 years. He goes on, if you will, immerse yourself in the vibrant sounds, feel the energy coursing through your fingertips, and unleash your inner rhythm. From the lively rhythms of Guinea to the soul-stirring beats of Mali, each class will transport you to the heart of West Africa. So you're all coming, right? Thank you so much. Another thing, my friend Camille is here from Atlanta. Thank you, Camille, for joining me here. But she also made us some banana muffins. But Marty, one thing I do know, you cannot touch a nut. So there are walnuts in some of them, so I am so sorry about that. But enjoy those. Thank you.
The next game night is this Friday on the 8th from 6 to whenever we're done in the Bush Center. And to get y'all excited for it, we are doing a game flash mob during coffee hour. We'll have some games set up on some tables like this one, all different types of games.
And as I mentioned earlier, I really want people who are concerned about being Alabamians and our responsibility as citizens here to check out the Facebook page of Project Hope to abolish the death penalty. We have 167 people on death row. The Attorney General is moving fast on his word that he will kill all of those murderers in short order. They have requested execution dates for 4 people right now. And one is Kenny Smith. You may remember they tried to execute him but had to stop just before midnight after he was cut, all kinds of things with lethal injection. He is now in not post-traumatic stress, but present traumatic stress, because they have him at the top of the list to kill again. I hope. Yes, thank you, Victoria, for the good news about games, and it's important about rest. And also, our lives is more than our work is more than our jobs, as Charlie King says. Look all around you that's good, and look all around you that is a good opportunity in whatever field you're working. And it's certainly not all this specific death penalty thing in Alabama, but I urge your attention, if you will, to Project Hope to abolish the death penalty website. There's lots of not so good information, opportunities. Thank you.
So I won't be here next week. I'll be back in a month. I will actually be in Portugal on vacation for the next week. So here I come and I go on vacation. But other than that, most weeks, if you look on the order of service, I'm available for office hours. You can email me and make an appointment. But I also wanted to do a pitch for next week's service, which is not TBA. It's a thoughtful look back at 9/11 2 decades later. So that sounds like a wonderful program. So when I get back, I'll be back on the 17th. I welcome your coming to my office hours if that's something that's helpful.
If there are no more announcements, please join in our Son and benediction. Now I'd like to invite everyone for coffee hour, exchange thoughts and your experiences in the past week, and we go forth in peace. Amen.
welcome.